Good. Hello, Internet. Welcome to a very special episode of Cocktails and Curveballs. This is our Veterans Day weekend episode. And if you've seen any of our other shows, you know how we start them all. But this one means a little bit more. Obviously it's not Veterans Day right now, and by the time anybody hears this, it'll be a couple days late. But I just hope that that you told the veteran thank you, and thank you to all of our veterans. Obviously, we wouldn't be able to be here right now if it wasn't for your guys' sacrifice. So thank you. Let's keep it a little more lighthearted though, huh, Lee? What are you drinking first and foremost?
You know what? Okay, so perfect. I went back to the banquet, boys. I got Coors Banquet. And again, man, this stuff, I don't know. It's I think Coors Light is 4.1% and Coors Banquet is 5%. But damn, it's actually pretty damn good because usually Coors Light's my backup and
Yellow Bellies, right?
Yeah, they keep putting the shit on sale, man. And I'm like, okay, done. I'll take some of that.
That's the nickname for Coors Banquets, right? Yellow Bellies?
No, it depends on where you're at.
It depends on where you're at, buddy.
Yeah, buckskin. Buckskins are a good one.
Yep.
Yellow Jackets.
But that's what I got. Actually, what I kind of wanted to bring up with you guys, and this starts with the Jimbo Fisher thing, but it takes me where I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this, because the amount of money that these colleges are spending on their coaches, right? We've seen the contracts. We've talked about how comparable they are to NFL, right? These college coaches making mad money. Well, Texas A&M set to fire Jimbo Fisher, reportedly. Think it's going to be done today. Just to buy him out $75 million. And they're talking if the coaches go with them, and they've got some guys in line, some power coaches that they're thinking about to replace him already. With the other coaches, it could cost that university upwards of $150 million to buy out Jimbo Fisher's contract and all of these coaches. So you tell me, guys, is it the rich being richer? I mean, some of these universities obviously are storied, and they've got some fantastic boosters that are probably billionaires that donate a ton to that university. But for any university to potentially have to hand $150 million out just to clear the coach's room, man, can you even fathom that? I mean, the amount of money is ludicrous to me.
What I want to know, what piques my curiosity is, well, a couple things. First, so I don't even think, when you mention that, Lee, I don't even think the four of us who follow college football on a regular basis, or at least I'll speak for myself, I knew these universities were just, had more money than God. Okay. There's no doubt in my mind. But something like this, what you're talking about, and the money they're really willing to basically just light on fire, really puts into perspective how much money they do have. I didn't even realize that they had this much money, if that even makes sense. So that's first of all. And to the people that don't really watch college football, this has got to be like a glass of water thrown in their face. Like, holy crap, they're losing how much? I mean, they have this much money to spend. And the second thing I'm curious, is there some sort of accountability? Is there anybody that's going to be? Is there any accountability? Is there anybody affiliated with either university, the boosters, or even higher up, that's going to look at this and be like, well, who's the jackass that gave them this money? How are you guys okay with just dumping this much money? Is there anybody that's going to be held accountable? I mean, I'm curious. I really want to know.
So a side note too, how much more is it going to be? $250 million by the time they replace the coaches with those contracts?
Yeah,
it could be $250 million.
Jesus.
Well,
Go ahead, Jimmy.
I don't think. I think there's too many good young coaches out there. Listen, Jimbo Fisher was a big name. Okay,
he still is, kind of, right?
When he went to Texas A&M, with that came a top 5 recruiting class. His first 2, 3, 4 years.
Yep, absolutely.
He's playing his guys right now, and he has had a top 5 normally, and at the very least, a top 10 recruiting class.
Agreed.
Go to Texas A&M. A lot of that had to do with the Jimbo Fisher style with just Jimbo Fisher himself. But they're finding out that there's these young coaches out here are tearing it up, and I think they're going to go for a little more of a Texas A&M is going to go for more of a an SEC type modern, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, some type of a guru. Now back to A&M as a whole. A&M is one of those storied programs, and if you guys remember when they were in the Big 12, they were tough every year.
Every year.
And they switched to the SEC and got their asses handed to them a few years, and hired Jimbo Fisher. But the SEC money. So Texas A&M's got this much money, and we can speculate where they get it. Boosters, the oil money, whatever. We can speculate all we want. But bottom line is they're in the SEC. They're a big program. Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee. I mean, if you think about these schools and the money that is being just funneled to them, and I don't mean funneled as a bad word because I'm not implying anything.
Right.
I'm just saying between boosters and the NIL deals and everything else, the money that's being funneled to these colleges, now we're getting a good look at how much it really is. I mean, $75 million for a head coach to buy him out.
Jesus.
Yes,
And
Lee, you mentioned earlier they were 9-1 in the COVID year, right?
And
Yeah,
could you
but
believe? Can
COVID
you
year he
believe
came
up
in.
until the last couple years, they wouldn't pay the athletes.
Well,
Isn't
but
that,
that was
you
a
know what I
lot
mean?
more
Like,
money
and
going to
and
the
now,
universities.
yeah, it all comes to light when you're like, okay, this university, 150 flush it, and then we got to hire a whole new staff.
Yeah, and you're going to put $100 million out to fill the staff room and get a head coach. You will.
You
So
would-
now
you
you're
would
looking at
think
a
so.
$250 million. You would think,
right, but
They're-
up until what, last year or 2 years ago, they wouldn't pay the student athletes.
right.
Because
correct? Correct.
you're like, dude, there's so much. There's a
Jim-
ridiculous amount of money in college football.
Well, Jim brings up a good point, and I never thought about it till you just said something, Jim. You were talking about, you could see Texas, see A&M going to one of these younger coaches, younger up and coming, don't necessarily need to, hire a top guy, if you will, a veteran coach, and you're going to pay big money for a guy like that. So my question is, you bring up one of these younger coaches. Is there less stress? I guess, in the NFL, I feel like you need a quality coach, like head coach. He's got to hire quality assistants. But can you run a successful football program with just an up and coming coach? I mean, are the duties less demanding where you can bring in one of these?
Have
these
you
young
seen?
guys?
Have you guys seen Michigan's record without Harbaugh? I don't know
And
if
what
this
is
helps
it?
prove
They
your
won
point or not. It's perfect.
Well, okay, but they won
haven't lost a
yesterday.
game.
Right.
Yeah, they haven't lost a game with
Okay, well,
with
okay.
Harbaugh not coaching.
But I think we can agree the Michigan has its personnel. I mean, so they've got Harbaugh's guys who are obviously very talented. I mean, that's a talented football team, very talented, and they've been talented for a few years. So I'm not going to say that they're on autopilot, but they're kind of in he's got that team lined up to where it doesn't take a whole lot if he's got to sit out. A&M now firing Jumbo Fisher, you're obviously going to go a different. There's going to be somebody, whether it's a young coach or a veteran, they're going to want their guys. That's what Dion's doing right now, getting his guys. You're
I just
talking
think
about
with A&M, especially being in the SEC, I think they're going to definitely go for a named coach. I think they're going to want a proven Power 5 coach that's sitting on the sidelines this year that got bowed out a year or two ago. I think they're going to want to make a splash because this is a big deal. And you guys are right. I mean, somebody at some point, when do you say, okay, so who's responsible for this $150 million we're going to lose? I mean, where's it come from?
I mean, that's a lot of money, man. That's a lot of money.
It would be cool if they'd make all these big universities just open up the books and make it public record where all their money comes from and how much do you have?
That would be super
I don't know,
interesting. That would be
huge.
It'd be a great book to read.
Well, and then another aspect of all this that we haven't mentioned yet is the fact that with these superstar high school football players getting ready to choose their schools, how many big names, star high school players, 5-star guys, is A&M going to miss out on just simply because an up-and-coming kid's going to be like, well, I don't know who their coach is. Well, they're going to go through 2 or 3 years of turmoil. Well, they're not going to be
now
very
can
good.
you pay him? But now can you pay that 5-star recruit to go, okay, how much does it matter if I can pay you X amount of dollars to come be our spark here? You know what I mean? I think the NIL stuff plays a huge factor in recruiting and stuff now. I think some
NIL
of
has
it's
been
about like
gigantic.
maybe is Texas A&M just flexing all their money and going, yeah, no shit, we can bring in whoever we want. Like, come to A&M. We can afford it.
Do you guys think that? I mean, do you see A&M contending with the Alabamas and the Oklahomas and Ohio State?
Not
Not
next
currently,
year,
but they can.
But
I
if
do think
if
they
there's
can.
whoever has the most money, you can just buy recruits at this point, right? Like, I'm not saying everyone. Some of them, of course, are going to put an emphasis on winning. But how many of these guys aren't going to make NFL money? Make it while they can, and if you got a program like A&M, whatever they say about their NIL that they don't do that, because that was the thing this last offseason. Money talks, right? Like we've said that 100 times on this podcast.
Yeah, it's true.
I honestly don't know, with the amount of talent that A&M's got and that they put in the NFL every year, I honestly don't know what the problem is. Jimbo Fisher is a proven, he's got a track record.
Is some of that
He was fantastic with the Seminoles. He won a national championship in 2013 with the Seminoles. So
These bigger conferences now, right? Like there's only going to be 4 major conferences next season. And moving forward, who knows how that goes. It's like mostly a money thing, right? Like, and it just, I know I've brought this up a ton of times too, but like Oregon State and Washington State didn't get picked up. Is it a money thing? Like, because the SEC, like, let's just look at just what the SEC is going to be here next season. I just run the list. Now they're going to get Texas and Oklahoma that are hundreds of millions of dollar programs also. You know, like,
think about
they're trying to make it like minor league football, but it's not really minor league.
Right. So, I mean, but I don't know about the money thing. I don't know if that translates, because I feel like both Oregon and Washington, I feel like those colleges are doing fine in the money department.
Those are private schools. They're private schools.
Oregon State,
they're not the state schools.
Right, but they still generate a lot of. I mean, they're
UW in Oregon. Oh yeah,
absolutely. Hell yes, they do.
Yeah, that's why they get. I mean, but is that why their programs are better all around? You know, like a team like Oregon State probably doesn't have the funds to fly to go play Rutgers next season.
Right.
Just because they're now that, or so how does that work when the volleyball team has to go play a match at Rutgers? There's no way that's in the budget. There's no way they have enough
the
cash
dollar
for
pressure. It's the pressure of the dollars, man.
Right.
I mean, how do you
that's
make
why
it
like
a
Cal and Stanford get picked up to go play in the ACC? How does it?
They're clear across the country.
Cal, you know what I mean?
You know,
I bet those two universities have enough alums and enough boosters and stuff that there's enough money for them to do it.
I mean, and it's funny you bring that up, Ty, because you're talking about private schools. One of the most impressive things to me in college football has been yesteryear, and even today, it rings true today, is when Notre Dame has a really good team. It's impressive as hell to me, man, because that school is so hard to get in. So they're not taking the 5-star athlete coming out of high school if he doesn't make the grades or he doesn't qualify to get in. So the fact that they can get enough super talented players to be in the top whatever every year, that's, to me, that's, I don't know if there's another more impressive thing in football. For them to continue to be competitive, heaven forbid, contend for a championship.
Notre Dame relaxed that for student athletes.
Yes.
Athletes.
You're right. Okay.
Student athletes. They relaxed that because they went through a period where they weren't good at all.
At all.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of the alumni that had played in the NFL. I mean, Notre Dame put more players in the NFL at one time than anybody.
Right.
And so a lot of those older players, the alumni, came out and said, wait a minute, we can't compete like this, guys.
Yeah.
So you got to relax. And of course, well, where's the first place they're going to relax? It's going to be the football team.
Football.
Because
Get
that's
it
what's
football.
going to fund everything.
Yeah.
And ultimately it does. And I'm sorry, baseball players. I'm sorry, women basketball players. I'm sorry, basketball
Soccer.
players and soccer. I'm sorry, but you get your uniforms, you get your travel through the football team.
Absolutely.
Just the way it goes.
Yeah.
Hey, Jimmy, I got a quick question for you. So, number one, I swear to God, whatever you're drinking, damn near matches your sweatshirt. Are you having a red beer?
No, I'm not.
What the hell are you drinking?
I went back to the good old Red Swing and bought another.
Oh, nice.
Bought another growler. Yep. Here in Colorado Springs, we got a tucked away little brewery called the Red Swing. And I went back and I got some of the blueberry mango sour again.
Oh, nice.
Of it. And man, this stuff, it's the first drink, it's like a Sour Patch Kid, man. It just hits your tongue, just like, wow. And then just after it just goes down easier and easier and easier. It's
I feel like we should, it sounded like the Red Swing. We should all like road trip to Colorado Springs and throw a podcast out at the Red Swing.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, Pat and I have done that before, and I might have cracked some ribs at one point, but that's not something I like to talk about.
That's a variety. That's a place. That's a brewery that has such a great variety. And I went back because I don't know when they're going to take this off. You guys know how breweries work.
Oh yeah, they always rotate beers.
They rotate their beers and stuff. So
yes,
I don't know when they're gonna take this off. So I had to get another growler. But they've got such a great variety over your different types of beer, your different palates. They've got such a great variety that I'm almost positive you go into the Red Swing, you're going to find something you like.
I completely dig that Jimmy is like expanding his horizons and like getting into brewery beer, like micros instead of just the mountains are blue, boys. Which is your go-to, which is good, but it's nice when you can branch that stuff out. There's so much available in the world of beer right now, like literally.
Oh yeah,
everywhere. And you know what, man? Here's my thing on that: support the local ones, man.
Yeah, local breweries.
I mean, I love my Coors, and that's kind of my background. But still, I go to the local breweries and I like to support them, whether I'm buying a 6-pack or I go fill a growler or whatever it is. Support the local people, man. Let's keep them going because there's some really good stuff happening in these breweries. But Jimmy, he's getting it. I like it.
Yeah, I like it. Matt, what are you drinking?
Do you think A&M is going to hire real quick? Do you think A&M is going to go for a name coach, or you think they'll go somebody that you don't know?
It'll be somebody I think that we know, but I think so. I think it's going to be more of an up and coming, a younger, the newer, if you will, quote unquote, the newer football. I mean, we've seen what guys like Lincoln Riley. Look at Kalen DeBoer up at Washington.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I watched that game yesterday. It's exciting watching him coach. But guys like that, and these guys,
I hope so.
These guys that are really in tune with the times, what's going on, and paying attention to what they have on their team and what they can and can't do.
It'll be curious. It'll be interesting, very for sure, because after Lee pointed out the amount of money that they're basically flushing down the toilet. It'll be interesting. I guess we're getting ready to find out. That's what's going to be interesting for me is that money they're flushing down the toilet that big of a deal? And if it is, are they going to go for a guy that they don't have to pay a lot of money to? Like, okay, well, we dumped all this money on this guy, it didn't work out, so maybe we'll just fly under the radar and make it up to our boosters or whatever. Or if they do go out and get a household name, that tells you right there they're not worried about it at all. Like nobody.
So listen. So, but listen, how big of a deal can it be when you're firing a coach in season?
Exactly. Thank you. What are you drinking, Patrick?
I am drinking again, some of this,
Oh, Tyler's got one of those man cans in the background. Sorry, we'll get to you.
yeah, Old Smoky butter pecan moonshine. I
Oh, you
just
haven't
poured-
killed that whole thing yet.
No, not yet. Well, it will be this show, but today's kind of special because I also needed my coffee fix, so I made some coffee and threw some caffeine in there with this butter pecan, and I think I need some more coffee, man. It's I'm gonna have another one of these bitches. I'm pretty sure. So
Tyler, that was one of those big man cans you talk about, those 23, 24 ounces. What the hell was that?
This
Atomic
this
something,
is
wasn't it?
Atomic Torpedo Imperial from
Knew
Sierra
it.
Nevada.
Yep.
I think see it. They do the hazy little things too.
Yep.
That
That
are
is
like-
one. If you have a few of those, you'll be walking on your lips in no time.
Yeah, yeah. It's a big dog. I don't know, just
Jesus.
out walking around.
nice.
It's actually really good, but it's a
fine.
high
Yeah,
alcohol content.
It's pretty good. It's pretty
Hey,
good. I'm
so-
almost done with it. I'm gonna wash it down with one of these Busch Lights here in a second.
So look at us all branching out and trying to outdo the other. What are we going to drink this Sunday? What are we going to drink?
Oh,
next
absolutely.
week?
I'm gonna drink a
not
gallon
that
of
we-
IPA
not that we-
next week.
Not that
We
we,
have to
do
be
this on
proud.
Sundays or anything like that.
No, we have to
Right.
be proud of ourselves that our mamas didn't raise no quitters, and we do this on a Sunday. I'm okay to
Listen,
say it. I don't
was-
even care.
I was three different shades of shitty last night. I ain't gonna lie. We did a bunch of apple pie moonshine shots.
Oh.
Did a few chilled fireballs.
Were you watching the fights?
Yep. Over
Oh
at
man,
Lost.
were
Yep.
you? Damn it! You know what? I was kind of wishy washy on them. It sounds like I missed something decent, man. They're pretty good.
Oh, they were quick, but they were good. They were.
Yeah.
I mean,
A lot of finishes,
yeah,
which is great. A lot of fast finishes too.
yeah, quick. Yep. But
It was,
yeah, we just-
and right from the early prelims, they were good all the way through. I thought.
Yeah.
Isn't
Yeah,
you know what though? The only like everybody loves to see finishes. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm not. I hope that doesn't come off as complaining that like, oh, they were fast ones.
right.
But it just takes so long in between fights when that happens.
I know
A
it.
first round finish or a quick finish in the first round. Now,
We gotta fill
there's not
time.
another fight for like 20, 25 minutes sometimes.
Yeah,
That's
that might
the
have
only
been-
bummer about it.
That might have contributed to the amount of shots we had. So
Yeah. That's what I mean,
Yeah.
dude. But and then like,
Of course.
I'm like, okay, I got 20 minutes that I don't have to pay attention here. And then the next fight comes on. I'm like, okay, no, I'm watching still. I'm paying attention.
Oh.
And then
No,
first round
Pat's-
finish, and
Pat's
you're like,
playing
oh, well,
quarters. Pat's
yeah.
got quarters and shot glasses. He's playing
Oh,
quarters
yeah.
with liquor at that
Yeah,
point.
usually by the main fight, I'm very tired.
yeah, I was tore up from the floor up, man. I'm not even gonna lie. I was three different shades of shitty last night. So yeah.
Well, hanging out with Jeff Locke will do that to a guy
Good Lord, man.
for sure.
Hey,
On that
so,
note, though, how about Poeton? How about Pieta?
Oh, yeah.
Holy smokes, man!
Yeah, man. It was
How do you not like the guy? Right?
So,
like,
Jim,
I mean, how,
what-
how do you not root for him?
so 7 fights and 2 belts.
and 2 belts in 2 different weight classes.
I mean, that's got to be. I'm not sure if that's if.
So what do you do? Middleweight and light heavy?
Yeah,
middleweight and light
Yeah,
heavy.
never been done. That had never
And the
been
dude's
a champ
not
champion.
he's not some young blood. He's in his later 30s, isn't he?
Yeah.
Man, so you know what? Because of that, that just tells me his work ethic, man. That guy must
Oh.
train his ass off, man. You know, the older you get,
I just don't think. Also, like he's not scared of shit.
oh, he's fearless.
7 fights in the UFC and
Yeah.
a championship belt at 180 and 205 in 7 fights. He from the jump when he got into the UFC started fighting the top competition, and
Right.
he's a champ. So I mean, like that's
And see, I only got to see the
Incredible.
highlights, man. And from what I gathered from the highlights is, I mean, the fights were a lot quicker than people anticipated, but nobody anticipated them to go 5 rounds
let me-
on the
let me
championship
ask you.
fights.
So let me ask you, Ty, based on what we know and him being fearless, taking all comers, got 2 belts, 7 fights, is it way too early to be even having a conversation about pound for pound right now in the MMA? Is it?
Oof.
Mm,
tough.
I think he's top 5. He's top 10.
He's top 5.
Yeah.
I think
He's top 10
5.
undoubtedly, right? Like top 10.
Yeah.
Top 5. I mean,
Which
because
is-
he's
which is
not
crazy.
undefeated. He's not
Seventh fight.
undefeated, right? Like he's
Which is
not
crazy.
undefeated. He's been beat in the UFC, but in
Yeah, but
seven
Beat
fights
by the style bender.
Adesanya.
Didn't Adesanya beat him?
Adesanya beat him
in the
second
rematch.
fight. He knocked Adesanya out.
Yeah.
And
Okay, so I knew there was that.
Adesanya in between kickboxing and MMA is 1-3 against Pieta.
Oh
Jeez.
hell! But so is
Pieta
that,
beat
is
him
that what they're
twice.
expecting?
Is Israel Adesanya? I think somebody fact checked me on this out there. He was like something crazy like 95-5 in kickboxing.
Yeah, it was way up there. It was
and like two of those losses were to Pieta. He only
Right.
got beat by like a couple other
and,
guys.
and so am I off? I mean, I feel like I'm fairly accurate in that it wasn't so long ago where Adesanya was being discussed as the possible pound for pound in MMA. I
Yes,
feel like it was just not
1000%.
too long
Style
ago
he was
bender,
trending that way for sure.
where he was considered as one of the pound for pound fighters in the business.
Yeah.
This year, guys, this year in MMA has been crazy.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you got Sterling and
Oh, yeah.
Adesanya, Usman, who just
Usman.
a
But
year
Usman
ago,
is less,
those three were top 5 pound for
Yeah.
pound.
Yeah,
Right.
it's
Yeah,
been
Usman.
shaken up a lot.
And now it's just got crazy, you know, with Strickland taking out Adesanya and O'Malley taking out Sterling and
Earlier in 2023, Jamel Hill was the 205, the light heavyweight champion.
right.
Like some injuries have played into it. Guys that what do we think? What do we think about interim belts?
Interim belts. Ugh.
Yeah.
I think you're just keeping it warm for
You're keeping it warm
Well,
for a
Well,
big
you're
fight.
not. So the Aspinall, right? And
Yes.
Pavlovich,
Yeah.
that fight, right? Interim. Because that it was supposed to be John Jones and Stipe,
Right.
that's right.
right? Like that was supposed to be the heavyweight title fight last night. Doesn't happen. So they have to save the card, right? Because I don't
Yep,
think
they gotta throw
a
something out there.
standalone Pieta versus Jiri last night as a standalone event would not have made numbers. Not
No.
that I think the Aspinall Pavlovich moved that needle that much, but
Fucking helped, man.
but it helped. It fucking helped when you lose a John Jones Stipe Miocic fight, like the
Yes.
super fight of super fights.
And so wait, John Jones did what he did. Was it his MCL?
I think it was his shoulder. I
Oh,
saw
okay.
I saw the video. He's not bullshitting, and I don't think John Jones is scared
no.
of anybody in
Of
the whole world.
anybody.
Yeah, no, I
No.
saw the vid, like they were filming it when it happened. Somebody was filming it, and it looked like like something got
But
fucked up.
you know what? As good as Aspinall looked last night, he got touched.
Yeah,
He got touched by Pavlovich.
he's
a little bit.
fast for a big guy.
But
Yes. Yes.
does Aspinall does he even get into man with either Stipe
Yeah, with either of
or
them.
Either one.
John Jones? I
He's-
mean,
I think John Jones, right, is like such a good wrestler. Like I don't know if it's underrated or if everybody knows that, but like he's phenomenal. He was a great wrestler, still is. So, but I think Aspinall probably would want to fight Stipe,
for sure.
right?
I would,
More
yeah,
so
I'd
than
rather
more
go
so
that
than John,
route.
more than
Yeah,
anybody would
absolutely.
want to fight fucking John Jones.
No,
Right.
you're gonna want to hold that belt an extra fucking fight, man.
Yeah.
You're gonna want to hang on to it if
Anyway,
you can.
Hey, anyway, guys, I don't want but hey, check out the replays out there, guys. It was a great fight night, all the way from the early prelims. Something that we really need to get on right now, guys, because it's just what's going on right now, and it's huge. And that's the Jim Harbaugh thing.
Mm.
Oh,
Now Jim Harbaugh was suspended, and I'm sure everybody out there knows this. He was suspended the first 3 games of the year for a recruiting violation during the COVID time. Okay. So he basically told the NCAA, and in my opinion, he thumbed his nose at him and basically told him, hey, I'm not saying shit. I'm not cooperating. Do what you got to do. So let's send him for 3 games. Now, whether we believe this taping of signs, this videotaping of signs, the sportsmanship clause in the Big Ten contracts, okay? Whether we believe he did it or not, it's pretty evident that there was something going on with one of his staff members, correct?
Yes.
I
And
think
Jimmy,
it's
I
evident.
think, oof,
I
yes,
think
evident.
I think it's very evident. I think the NCAA proved their point. Now, and that, you know, you got Desmond Howard, who I'm so fucking tired of hearing about. You know, of course, he's a Heisman winner from Michigan, and he is just okay. He's not being biased, or he's not being non-biased whatsoever.
Right.
He is just out there being their expert reporter, ESPN's expert analyst on the Michigan deal, and he is doing nothing but just whining about how Michigan got a raw deal. Well, I got news for you, Des. Liar, liar, pants on fire is not a defense.
Right.
No.
Right.
Here's the thing, though. All this stuff.
Listen, the NCAA's got videotapes. They've got testimonies. They've got everything else. You can't come back and just say, yeah, no, we didn't do that.
Right.
You're not going to put a top coach on the sideline unless you got some damn evidence to back up what you're doing. And the kicker is guys, this is not just Michigan. This is pick a team. Go all the way down to NAIA. I bet you it happens.
Well, and
some big booster or fan goes to a game and films some shit because we're playing them next week.
And that's my point.
I don't believe that it doesn't happen across the board.
That's my point, is that I'm kind of torn because you know the NCAA was on a witch hunt anyway.
Right.
Because of his first 3 games suspended.
Right.
Now he's been suspended for the last 3 games of the year, which Penn State and Ohio State fall in them 3 games. Now they beat Penn State. Okay, and they look pretty good doing it. They threw one pass that wasn't even documented as a pass because there was a penalty or something on it in the whole second half.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they run the ball.
32 runs in the second half.
That is just, I mean, how much is your offensive line dominating the line of scrimmage?
But my point is, so they're going to win.
How much would you hate to be on the defensive side of the ball?
Oh,
I've been there before. Not being able to stop a run game. That is not fun. That makes for a long fucking
and it's a nightmare, and it just keeps getting fucking worse, man.
Makes you pretty fucking sore the next day, doesn't it, Tyler?
Yeah, dude, that's a real fucking bummer of a night or day whenever the game happened, and then a real bummer of a next day for a defender.
Back to Harbaugh. Is this, you guys think, is this it for him? Is this last season at Michigan?
I do. I do.
Again, I don't know.
If so, where's he going? Like I said, I'm trying to be as non as I can. You guys know me as I'm an Ohio State fan. You know, that team, I really don't give a shit if they fall off the planet. And that's just the way it is. And they will say the same about me. So fuck them all. Anyway.
Tell me how you really feel, Jimmy. I'm not getting the vibe.
My point is that yes, a lot of it came from Ohio State, apparently, and Rutgers, and there were some teams that stepped forward to say, hey, yeah, this is going on, this is happening, and made themselves known. Big mistake on Ohio State's part, in my opinion. They're going to be geared up. Michigan is going to be geared up in 2 weeks.
Listen, I honestly don't know that Harbaugh, if you think about it, yeah, he had a run with the Niners in the NFL, right? And did very well. And then the players didn't buy into him anymore because guess what? They all got multi-million-dollar contracts, and they didn't want to be treated how a college coach treats those kids that are trying to get to the NFL and make that money. So the team left him in San Francisco. Make no mistake. They left Harbaugh when he was there. Is he really going to try and go back?
If you remember right, though, that 49er thing came with Alex Smith getting hurt.
Oh, yeah.
And losing his starting position while he was hurt to a Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah, right.
I
Yeah,
think
I
a lot of
understand.
people jumped off. I think a lot of people jumped off the
He
bandwagon.
lost the
Out there.
team, is what I'm saying. And
Yeah.
when you're talking about multi-million-dollar players in that locker room, man, if you can't control that, if they don't buy into you,
You
I mean,
know-
how are you going to coach them?
Yeah, but here's the thing, Lee. We talk about it all the time on this show, and in all walks of sports, baseball, hockey, football, especially. You look at what Cleveland Browns gave up for Deshaun Watson. Dumb teams do dumb things, man. And so there's no doubt in my mind that there's 10, maybe as many as 15 NFL teams right now that would throw Jim Harbaugh a contract right now, this second.
He's
And
going to
probably
put
would.
asses. He's going to put asses in the seats, fellas.
Absolutely.
Yep, damn right he is.
Right, you know, regardless of what he did before, he's been super successful at the college level. I think there's a
Everywhere.
lot of. I think that the you know the typical NFL audience would probably concur that he is a quality head coach. And you look at some of these NFL teams that can't get out of their own way to bring in a guy like Jim Harbaugh and try to rebuild your whole football program. Hell yeah, sign us up right now. Absolutely, I believe that.
I agree with that. I agree with that. Like I said, you know, whether it here's the catch-22 that Jim Harbaugh is in right now. He didn't know about it, so the NCAA looks at that as, oh, you've lost control of your program.
He says he
It's either
didn't know
that-
about it.
It's either that or, well, that's what he's saying.
That's
He's
what
saying,
yeah,
"Oh,
that's
no."
what he said.
Why wouldn't he say that?
Right.
Why
Right?
wouldn't he say
Yeah, no
that?
shit. He's
but-
not going to say.
But the thing is and we've seen this with other coaches, and the NCAA looks at that as bullshit. If you didn't know, you're Jim Harbaugh at the University of Michigan. You're telling me that you lost control of your program and these assistant coaches and staff members are going out on their own and doing this? Or
No.
you knew about it. It's a
He fucking knew about it.
catch-22. It's a
He fucking knew about it.
catch-22. You can't-
Well, and it's same thing with at Penn State with Jerry Sandusky. You know,
Right.
I mean, same thing, man. And so even if you are willing
No,
to
okay,
give,
not same thing.
Well,
Similar,
Same thing.
a
I mean, Joe Pod knew.
similar-ish-
Joe Pod knew.
similar-ish things.
like I'm not saying same thing in the category of what they did wrong. I'm saying similar situation in that they both basically broke NCAA violations.
Yeah, I just want to make that clear that those are.
And-
I
and
mean,
Coach
we're
Paul-
not saying
and-
that they're
and-
the same thing.
Right.
All right,
And
Tyler has the legal team on his side. He knows what he's doing. So we'll
So-
go with that.
Oh yeah, look, yeah, I know
Listen.
what I'm doing.
Penn State got penalized whether you knew about it or not. You know, I mean, it's
And
I
Joe
think-
Joe Paul had to go down the road for that. He did.
yeah.
Oh,
I
big
mean,
time.
you gotta eat it, man. And I think a lot of that was because, listen, if you knew about it, you absolutely need to go down the road. But if you didn't know about it, shame on you for not knowing about it. You know,
Well, you've lost control, and it's been said, and I'm paraphrasing, but exactly those terms. You've lost control of your program.
right.
Is that what you're
Hey, Pat.
telling me?
Pat, you said you got six shades of shitty last night.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So since you're drinking early today, which whether we want to tell the people or not, did you need any hangover remedies before you were able to partake in some heavy booze, or were you just a
I
water
gotta be
guy?
honest with you. When I came home last night, I took
Were you
4
scared?
took 4 ibuprofen and drank 2 glasses of water, and had I not done that, man, I might still be super peaked right now. So I think
You'd be asleep. We'd be
oh,
minus Pat on this
I
podcast.
don't know that I made the podcast. Really quick, not change subject, but I did want to get your guys's. Is something that is absolutely just mind blowing to me. Is Cleveland Browns this year are having a pretty good year. Not great, but they're 5-3. They're in it. They got a
playoff
great
team.
defense. Yeah, they'd
Yeah,
be a
they
playoff team
got a
if it
great
started there.
defense. If not the best defense in the NFL, they're number 2. If they're not number 1, and you look at what Baker Mayfield is doing in Tampa right now: 12 touchdowns, 4 picks. He's thrown for almost 2,000 yards, 63% completion percentage. I saw his overall rating's almost at 93. And it's fascinating to me. We just brought this up. How much Cleveland gave up for Deshaun Watson, like multiple first round picks, multiple second round picks, players. How much better would Cleveland Browns be right now had they just kept the picks, kept everything they traded for Deshaun Watson, and Baker Mayfield was still playing for Cleveland? I mean, you could make an argument, a legitimate argument, that if Baker Mayfield was with the Browns right now, they might be a number 1 seed in the AFC, maybe a number 2 seed. That's just wild to me.
You
How
know, and
you know?
hindsight's always 2020.
Sure,
There's a shitload of teams that would have taken Deshaun Watson at the time.
I agree.
Oh, hell yes.
Would have taken Deshaun Watson, and the NFL is a win now league. Baker Mayfield was, and it had looked like, and I'm not so sure he is any better than he ever was. He hit his ceiling. He's around different people now. He did well in Los Angeles last year.
Yeah, he did.
Stafford.
He did.
So, but he's just a professional quarterback, does a good job, but when he was the face of the franchise in Cleveland,
Different story.
it was a different story.
Yeah, right.
When he had to be out front and he would push, and this is a lot of just who Baker Mayfield is. That man is the ultimate competitor. I don't give a shit what anybody says. That man is the ultimate competitor. Baker Mayfield wants to win football games, bottom line. But he will also push that envelope to try to do it, go above and beyond what he's capable of. And that's what was happening when he was in Cleveland.
So a couple things on that, Jim. You're right. I couldn't have said it any better, except the fact that his last year in Cleveland, he was hurt the entire fucking year, man. And instead of, because he's Baker, because he's who he is, I think if you sat down and had a private conversation with him, I think he would have told you, I wish I would have sat out my last year in Cleveland, because he should have. Most quarterbacks would have. But because he is who he is, he played hurt. And his statistics suffered because he played hurt instead of just sitting out. Agreed. And had he sat out, maybe he'd still be in Cleveland. But the year before that his last year in Cleveland, he had a great year. He was borderline Pro Bowl, man. He put up some great numbers. So I think
what Jimmy said, though, is I think he functions better as Trent Dilfer, I guess, in my mind, with the Ravens. No, stop. That's not what I'm saying. Hey, I know he's better than that. But what I'm saying is when it's not all him, like it's everything's on him to go win.
Right. Oh, yeah.
If you've got that team around you, I think he can be fantastic. Look what he's doing right now. What you got, T?
Is NFL Fox Sunday in Colorado Springs right now?
Yep. At the academy.
Yep.
And
that's fucking cool.
I'm sticking by my boys. They've lost 2 in a row now.
So
two that would have never dreamed they would have lost.
It's a great day there. Is it beautiful outside?
It's nice. It's a little chilly. It's supposed to be 60 today, but it takes a while. At 7,000 feet, it takes a while to get there.
Hey, take that growler.
It's weird because it's weird, right? Because the sun's close. You guys are closer to the sun.
Well, you would think so.
You think it'd warm up faster.
The air up there's a little thin, T, so it's a little bit chillier.
I've been there, and it is hard to breathe. You guys want to hear something about hard to breathe?
Absolutely.
I went to a jiu-jitsu seminar yesterday.
Oh shit!
You want to talk about fucking hard to breathe?
Let's hear it.
Holy fuck, man! You guys know, like, I'm a younger man than you guys, right? Like,
we heard about how old we were last time.
Yeah. It's been at least 10 years since I've done something that was like physically challenging. Something, because I like if anybody that's listening to this, I'm sure played a sport at some point in their life. And there was a time when, personally, I know how you guys are also, that you thought you were the top of the shit, right? Like, you thought you were the best.
You're damn good shape.
you or just at whatever that it is that
Yeah.
you were doing.
Yeah.
As we've all gotten older, right? You just get farther and farther and farther removed, I think, from like that physical peak that everybody was at some point.
Yep.
But outside of the physicality part of it, like the mental part of it still lives in everybody, right? Like
Oh, yeah.
even though it's not
Absolutely.
true, we all think like
I could still do that.
I'd beat that guy in a race probably. You know, little shit, little stupid stuff that like doesn't really matter. So I was excited to go to it. And I gotta tell you, like the technique, I'm fairly strong. I am still in okay-ish shape for how old I am. But like technique matters. It was impressive. Like I'm fairly strong. I'm not crazy strong, anything. I would say I'm above average. I'd say I'm above average, like a little bit, right? And I was getting rolled. The guy that was training with me could have hurt me.
I guarantee.
Like you want to talk about how much having a good partner matters. He could. I am not joking in the slightest here that he could have broke my arm multiple times.
Jesus.
Had he wanted to. He
So,
could have
I gotta
choked- he
give
could
you
have
props
choked- he could have-
for manning
could have
up to
choked me
do
out.
it.
He could have choked me out every single time we started.
So there's
At some point,
So
Hey,
there's a
mad
song.
props to you for manning up and actually doing that, because at our elevated age, I don't know that I'm going to be trying that out.
Oh,
so
well,
there's-
that's the thought also, right? Like, is that if I don't do it now, if I don't at least like try to do it now, I'm never gonna do it. There's no way I would have went in there at 43, let alone how old I am now. I would have went in there here very shortly. I don't think like that. It's fleeting, right? Like the dream of anything, right?
Well,
like it's just is fleeting. Like it's just it's
Yes.
fucking crawling away from you
Hey,
faster.
it's gonna get-
faster
it's
than
gonna
you can
get
catch up
worse.
to it.
it's going to get worse before it gets better
That's
too.
what I'm
So I'm just
right.
saying.
So yeah, so that's what I'm getting at is that like
There's
I
a-
don't know.
there's
For
a
anybody
song.
listening, if you have a thought about doing fucking anything, do it now. Because
yeah,
you're only
do it
getting
while
older.
you can.
You're only
Do it
getting
while you
older.
can.
Or do it while
There's
you can't, but do it while you're better than you will be. I'm not saying do it while you can. I'm not saying you can do whatever you put your mind to, motherfucker. I know that shit's not real, but do whatever it is that you want to do before you get a day older. Like before you get any older, you're only going to be
Wow.
older.
This is like a public service announcement. I appreciate
Listen
that.
up. Listen up.
Listen up to cocktails and curveballs,
motherfuckers.
man. Just do it. Don't hesitate. Get it done
Listen.
before you can't.
There's a song out there that I'm sure I know all of us have heard, and I'm sure most
Yeah,
people
but you're not
listening-
going to sing it, are you?
No, but it basically I'm not as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was.
Right.
Yes.
And,
Yep.
and it's never been
Toby
truer
Keith.
words than spoken.
Yeah,
Toby
I think
Keith.
that's all bullshit too.
Okay.
All right, Jimmy, give us your
You know
tip.
what?
Hell yeah.
No,
I feel-
you just as you get older, your mind also decides what it is you think that you were good at one time. And you decide against it more than not, trust me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The pride is a powerful thing, man. Your pride doesn't want to let it go.
Nobody
Right
nobody
is.
wants to look like a dumbass. And,
No.
you know.
Yeah, tell me
so-
about it, dude. I was fucking like shaking when I walked into the gym yesterday. The guy, so it was just the guy that led the seminar. His name's Aaron Teagues. He's a Northwest guy, and his accomplishment list like is crazy, you know. And just the way he's moving around, I was like, oh my god, this guy could if we went one of us each went at him, he would finish us all four of us in under 5 minutes. Guarantee that.
I guarantee it.
I guarantee it.
You know what, though? But I mean, look at this,
guarantee
though.
it.
Okay, so perfect. People like Joe Rogan, they've been training this forever, right?
Yeah.
So they're still in that kind of shape. It's choices that you make, man. It's like, okay,
Oh,
so
yeah. That was
Yeah.
so evident to me yesterday. that there are
Oh.
people that make different
I
choices
chose
in
to
life.
be a beer drinker.
Here's the choice I would have made in all that. I would have sat in the stands with my grandchildren, which dates me. I would have sat in the stands with my grandchildren. I'd let you three go at this guy all day long.
No,
It wouldn't be
no,
all day
no,
long.
no.
It wouldn't be all day long. You wouldn't have
And
to
I
pack
would
a
have been-
snack.
Long at
You
all.
wouldn't have to pack a lunch. Nobody bring drinks in where this will be done quick.
Yeah, I would have been shaking my head and looking at my grandchildren and saying, "Look at these dumbasses! Look at
Yeah.
these guys!"
no, I would have.
Yeah, so
I would have been saying,
those are choices you start making after the age of
What he said.
75?
I would've-
Say 75.
No.
I would have made a comment like, I think there's a Chick-fil-A around here or something. I think.
Oh my God, Chick-fil-A is so good.
Does
Chick-fil-A is so
Chick-fil-A-
fun. Chick-fil-A above In-N-Out 10 times over.
Oh
What?
yeah, if only
Chick-fil-A is
if
the
only
best thing
Chick-fil-A
in the world.
served beer. If
Oh,
Yeah,
only- I'd never leave.
Overseas
Yeah,
they do.
they did, yeah. No,
Overseas they
Chick-fil-A's
do.
bomb.
They serve beer in McDonald's overseas.
Where
Oh my, if you
Patrick
could
and I
get
reside,
okay, if
there
you could
is
go
no
into a
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A and it served beer and had a sports book looking, if they had 4 TVs all stacked up, why would you ever go anywhere
I'm
else?
not leaving. I'm not leaving.
not-
I will be there for the
Look,
duration.
I'm teaching the 10 outside. Yeah.
Oh man, trust me. And Chick-fil-A, we don't have one where Patrick and I live. And I'm telling you, we'd have to go to Zootown to be able to participate. But Chick-fil-A is bomb, man. And it's one of those
so
things.
good.
It's one of those things. Shout out to Chick-fil-A. So Chick-fil-A,
Shout out
cocktails
Chick-fil-A.
and curveballs.
Eat
Come
more
on now.
chicken.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Chicken,
And I
that's it.
respect how they run their business. So, but anyway,
They
yeah,
do.
so
They-
cool.
You know what? That's over half of it too. Is the service is
They're so nice.
phenomenal. They're
Yep.
the people behind. I have never been in a bad Chick-fil-A.
No
Agreed, 1,000%.
So props to Chick-fil-A for taking care of the whole spectrum, not just having good food.
Absolutely.
Chick-fil-A and strip clubs walk hand in hand as being there's not a bad one.
Baloney, you're wrong.
Oh.
There are such things as bad strip
I,
clubs,
not
man.
everybody thinks so. Some people are, I bet, would jump on that
Well, some people haven't learned enough yet, so
train. Some
we're gonna
people
let that
haven't
one
been to
go
all the
away.
Chick-fil-A's, is what you're saying.
Yeah, Chick-fil-A's. That's what I was talking about. No. Hey, gentlemen, we better get on some curtain calls, man.
Yes,
we got
sir.
some NFL football about to go crazy. Who's got something?
Hey, I got one. And so I don't know if you guys watched the Missouri-Tennessee game yesterday. 13 and 14 played.
I
First
saw
time,
parts of it.
first time top 15. They've both been top 15 that they've ever played. Anyway, all kinds of crazy shit happened yesterday in college football, guys. I wish we had more time to talk about. Some records were set. Jaden Daniels from LSU, 606 yards himself of offense.
Oh,
Jeez. Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Wow.
Okay,
Yeah.
so but he was a preseason Heisman candidate. So
Yeah.
you know, he's doing Jaden Daniels, and congratulations to him, because that's, to me, I saw those numbers and I was like, holy shit.
Right?
You know, it's amazing to me to have one guy have 606 yards of total offense by himself. But anyway, I'm going to defer to a kid by the name of Cody Schrader.
Okay.
Missouri running back. 2 years ago, guys, he was playing for Truman State, D2.
Which state's that?
A good
I
question.
know all
I don't
50.
know.
I'm pretty sure I know all 50 of them. That ain't one of them.
Truman State, D2. And I believe it's Truman State. I hope I'm right on that. Truman State, D2, 2 years ago. He walked on the Missouri football team last season. Walked on. This year, he's leading the SEC in rushing and had 300 plus yards of total offense yesterday.
Holy shit.
Wow.
He rushed for over 200 yards and had
Wow.
almost 120 yards in receptions
Damn.
yesterday
That's
after
impressive.
being a D2 kid
Wow.
2 years ago. So
Uh,
my
I love hearing stories like that.
Cody Schrader, young man,
Good
tear it
for
up.
him.
Good for you.
Yeah, golf
Just
clap.
needed his opportunity. Hell
Golf-
yeah. I will golf clap that for sure. I got one real quick, and this one we didn't even touch on hockey, guys, but Jared Bednar, coach of the Colorado Avalanche. I really like this guy. Yes, he won a Stanley Cup 2 years ago, but I'm going to tell you right now, this guy calling out his team for the dog shit play they had last night against the St. Louis Blues. It's like they didn't even show up in the third period.
Bleed blue, baby. Bleed blue.
And he, well, you can bleed blue all you want. I'm not going to do it, but he literally had no fucks to give when it came to calling out his own team. And we're talking
Good, man.
2 years ago, a Stanley Cup champion and some big names. And he's like, we just quit. We gave up. And he called him out. So I got to give him all the props in the world because he's the coach. He's got to right the ship. So Jared Bednar, you're my curtain call for sure.
Things though, that's a division game. You know, St. Louis and Avalanche, Colorado. Those two teams are going to go at each other's throats. Doesn't matter where they play. Those two teams it's a bloodbath every time they play, man. So I was
right. But if you watch the game, that third period was pathetic. The Avalanche, they couldn't skate. I mean, it was bad, dude. It was really rough to watch. And I was waiting to see if Bednar called him out, and he did. So I give him cheers, man.
Good. That's the mark of a good coach, man. Tell his team, listen, you guys are playing like dog shit, and I ain't gonna put up with it. So good.
Yeah, for sure.
Pat, what's yours?
My curtain call. I know I gave one to him last week. This one is even a bigger curtain call. My girlfriend's son's football team, Western Montana Bulldogs, conference champions. Second time in 3 years, man. This is the first time they've been outright champions since I believe it's 1995. It's huge. I mean, they you know, College of Idaho, they were neck and neck, and College of Idaho got their clocks cleaned by Oregon yesterday. So that made Western Montana conference champions. They're going to get a bye. I believe they get a bye first round of the playoffs, but huge. I mean, and then doubling down on that college, I believe it's the women's volleyball team also are champions as well. So that whole university right now is in just keg hit mode, man. Everybody's just partying their asses off. The college, the campus is on fire right now. I mean, kids it's a super exciting time for them. Really happy for my girlfriend's son, Sam. And conference champs, man, big deal. So Sam's going to get his second ring in 3 years. So good for him, man.
Nice job.
Right on.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson just threw a pick six 40 seconds into the game. Kyle Hamilton just batted down a fucking swing pass and caught it himself. Batted it up in there and caught it, and there wasn't anybody 20 yards from
Old Deshaun.
I got a curtain call that this is more of like a curtain call that you would say shut the fucking curtain on these guys, not so much like bring them back out. College fucking game day not coming to Corvallis, Oregon next weekend for the Oregon State Beaver UW Husky game is fucking criminal. They're going to James. Disagree. They are going to look at the slate of games next weekend and tell me that's not the best game of the weekend.
It is the biggest game.
They're going to fucking James Madison to watch them play Appalachian State, and that is so fucked up to me. It's like the last chance Corvallis would ever have had to have game day here with how things are going moving forward for them. And both teams are playing so well.
Yeah, they're both having great games.
It's the biggest game of the weekend. It's going to be the biggest game of the weekend.
And they're going to Jack. Jesus.
Yeah.
That's
James
bullshit.
Fucking Madison, dude.
Wow.
Oh, worldwide leader chose.
You know what? You know why I'm also so pissed is I have tickets to the game.
Oh, nice.
I'll be up in that bitch. I will be up in that motherfucker.
You got your friends ready?
So let me ask you, Ty, are you going to wear your Huskies or you're wearing your Beavers?
It's tough because one of the guys, both the two guys that I'm going with, we all grew up Dogs fans. Two of us live in the area here now. So I don't know. I don't know. I think I might wear, no bullshit, a UW shirt underneath an Oregon State shirt.
In the event they start winning, or
in the event that, however, I feel, don't get me wrong, like as a Pac-12 guy, the Dogs need to win. Because if they if the Dogs don't win, I know Oregon's right on their heels, but like a Pac-12 team doesn't make it into college football playoffs. I get that, right? But if Oregon State wins, I wouldn't be surprised if we rush the fucking field.
As you should.
Like, no bullshit.
Listen, Yeah, as you should. If you beat UW, you should for sure.
And we're sitting, if the net wasn't there, we're sitting in the south end zone. We could maybe catch a fucking PAT.
Yeah, you
All
can.
right.
Listen,
So-
wear a Beavers sweatshirt, put on a UW hat,
Yeah,
Mhm.
and
yeah.
see how that works out for
So
you.
last weekend, guys, Army and Air Force, I had my Pat Tillman salute to service jersey on,
Right on.
digital camo, and I had my Air Force hat on. And
Nice.
if you don't get it, fuck you. You don't
Right.
get it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
No,
right.
you're right.
if you do or
There's
you
some
don't.
things. There's some things that are bigger than the game.
Hey,
And-
That's
next weekend, guys. So my fiance is a huge Bobcats fan. Next weekend's Brawl of the Wild.
Oh man, that's
There's
gonna be a
Bobcats.
good game. That's
And
gonna
I'm
be a
telling you
good-
right now, it's
what time does that
gonna
kick
be
off?
a
What time does that
fucking
kick off?
slobber knocker. I think it's at 1 kickoff mountain, if I
Mm.
remember correctly.
A
It's in
nooner here?
Missoula.
A nooner
This
here.
is number
Maybe we
three.
can get into that.
Grizzlies are number 3, aren't they?
Yeah, now
Are
they
they-
are. Yeah, they just
Bobcats are 2, right? Or did they drop? They got
no, they dropped. No,
They
they
dropped.
dropped. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
so
gonna be a good-
the Grizz are higher, but
game.
the Cats just completely rolled yesterday, like 57-14.
Yeah.
And then
Hey,
the Grizz, I watched the Grizz game. They beat Portland State in Oregon, 34-10, maybe, or 14. I don't know, but it was kind of an ugly game. But this one's going to be huge because the Bobcats have owned the Grizzlies the last 4 years, boys. Let's be
yeah,
real.
it's gonna be a good game. Good
So
game.
It's going to be good. But hey, so let's get on to some NFL football today, boys. Okay.
Yeah, boys. And
Everyone?
and a happy
And then
Veterans Day
let's
to all
roll-
our veterans,
Yes.
our veterans on the panel, and
Absolutely.
anybody that hears this. Thank you guys so much.
Absolutely.
You guys are
pick us up.
appreciated.
Don't forget, hey, pick us up on Spotify now, folks.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we're not the 4 easiest guys to look at, I understand. So, you know, you don't want to watch us on YouTube. Pick us up on Spotify, as always, Instagram, Facebook, and you know, at Gmail, Cocktails and Curveballs. But yeah, pick us up on Spotify. Listen to us
Absolutely.
driving down the road, and
And then let's talk about our road trip to the Red Swing. I think that
Yeah.
needs to happen.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, cheers,
All right,
boys.
fellas. Cheers.
Cheers.